I've been balancing making music and other creative work with a full-time job for about 10 years now, and I want to give you guys the 5 tips that have helped me do this in the most productive and healthy way possible. Now, I've always felt that I've had to balance my creative work with whatever thing that I'm doing full-time at the time, whether it's work or school. There's always kind of a thing that's taking up the majority of my time, and then I have to figure out how to squeeze in whatever creative work that I'm passionate about on top of that. And obviously it's not just that, because there's so much more that we have to do in life, like spending time with friends, spending time with family, resting, taking care of yourself, exploring other hobbies. There's a lot. And because I've been doing this for so long, I've gone through a lot of trial and error to figure out what works best for me, and I hope that these tips might be able to help you as well. Tip number 1 is say no to non-priorities. Just because you don't have your calendar blocked off on a Friday night or on a Saturday or on a Sunday, it doesn't necessarily mean you're free. I think sometimes we only consider something a plan when it involves other people, like, oh, I'm free on Friday night because I don't have plans to do anything else with someone else. I just think it's real easy to fill up your calendar with invitations from other people to get lunch, dinner, go to happy hour, stuff like that. And next thing you know, the whole weekend passes and it's Monday again, and you didn't get to spend any of that time working on your creative project. And so if you're anything like me and this year you wanted to prioritize making music or any other creative pursuit or side hustle, make sure you're blocking out time for it. Stop saying yes to any invite that you receive. Honestly, one thing I've been doing is straight up just saying no to any invites that I don't feel super excited about, because the truth is I only have very limited free time every week. And so I want to make sure that I'm spending that time doing what's most important to me, and going to some outing where I may not even have fun may not be as important as using that time to help me reach that goal that I set for myself of being more creative this year. Now, my second tip is going to feel almost like a little bit of a contradiction to the first tip, but despite what I just said, balance is still key. You have to be kind to yourself and allow yourself to take breaks when necessary, whether that's spending time with friends or playing video games or doing anything else that you enjoy. Not only is this healthy for your physical and mental well-being, for me, it also helps feed inspiration to create. I always say that in order to write good songs about life, you have to live. You can't just be locked in a studio all day. So go ahead, live life sometimes. Now, going along with that note of being kind to yourself, it's okay if some days you finish work, get home, and you feel like you don't have any energy or drive to create. Some days you're gonna be exhausted, and that's normal and okay. Take time to rest. It's not every day that you're gonna have the energy to excel at your 9 to 5, your creative work, and everything that's going on in your personal life. Tip number 3 is to find ways to make your full-time job a little bit less draining. Now, this is going to vary for everyone, since everyone has a different job and everyone has a different structure. Like if you have a 9 to 5 or if you work in a corporate setting versus a retail setting, things are going to be a little different. In my job, one of the things that I have a little bit of flexibility on is when I get to complete the work. Like I have a list of things that I need to do in a day, and I have a little bit of flexibility for when I actually complete these things. And what I like to do is try to put all the difficult stuff in the morning, and I try to make it so my afternoons and evenings are a little bit more chill, so I can wind down towards the end of the day. This allows me to finish the day without feeling like my mind is racing all over the place, and so that at the end of my work day, I can kind of turn off my 9 to 5 brain and turn on my creative work brain. Now, again, this is going to vary a lot on the type of job that you have, and in every job there's things that you absolutely can't change, and there's some things that are a little bit more flexible. I want you to not think too much about the things you can't change, and think about the things that are a little bit more flexible, like the order in which you get work done. For example, if you work in a corporate setting, one thing you could do is block off that last hour of the day so no one sets meetings during that time and you can start wrapping up. Now, I'm not saying this is going to work every time, but for regular days where it's not busy season or you don't get any crazy requests, you might be able to leave work with a bit more energy, and that's energy you can dedicate towards your creative work. Again, this is going to look a little different for each job, so you're going to have to brainstorm a little bit if there's any opportunities to do this in your role. Tip number 4 involves your mental health. Balancing all this stuff is really difficult. Honestly, most people find it really difficult enough balancing their personal lives and a full-time job on their own. We have a whole nother component that we're adding to this with our creative work, which is super mentally demanding. And honestly, yes, it really is a lot. And this is why I encourage everyone to implement some type of wellness practice in their lives, whether it's meditation or yoga or exercise or just going on walks every day. And these don't have to take a long time. Honestly, I think with just 15 to 30 minutes you can dedicate this each day, that is more than enough. And I'm not asking you to sign up for some type of class or some type of gym membership. Most of this you can do from home, including the exercise. Just do exercises at home. You don't have to get too fancy unless you really want to. And I know that it sounds like I'm asking you to add one more thing to your already super busy day, but even though this practice is gonna cost you 15 to 30 minutes of time each day, it's easily gonna reward you an additional 2 to 3 productive hours that you would not have had otherwise. Now, I want to take a second to give you a quick shout out for even making it to this part of the video. If you've enjoyed it so far, make sure you give the video a thumbs up. Tip number 5 might be the corniest one so far, but it is absolutely true, and I've seen so many of my friends suffer from it. Remember, this practice, this creative work, it's supposed to be fun, and you should remember that. Now, sometimes when we set goals for ourselves, kind of like I did this year with wanting to prioritize creative work, even if it's something that we love to do, even if it's our passion, it's very easy to make this thing that's supposed to be fun feel like work. And often this happens when we're putting too much pressure on ourselves or simply just not creating in a healthy way. If you're not enjoying the process, you're doing something wrong, and you should treat it like a red flag. You're probably not being kind to yourself, you're not taking care of your health, you're not balancing things in your life properly. When this happens, you should stop and try to evaluate what's going on and make adjustments. Now, I'm not saying that you're absolutely gonna love every second of making music or creating something. Obviously, making a song has its own struggles and annoyances, and it is what it is. It's gonna happen, but it shouldn't be all the time. You shouldn't be at the point where you dislike the entire process of making a song, or you feel really bad whenever you're gonna sit down to work on music. Like, this is not how you should be feeling when you do this. And I think that being able to notice when you feel this way is really important, because at that point, you really need to stop and evaluate what's going on, because clearly something is off. And that's all I have for you guys. If you enjoyed this video, you'll probably really like this one where I talk about my favorite book on creativity.